I am Scott Hamilton, Rockfile, back with another podcast review for your ears, talking about the 2011 film, Real Steel. Honestly, I've never seen this movie before. Why do I own a copy of it? Well, back when I was a much bigger movie collector, I was collecting steel books. And sometimes when you import some steel books from overseas, it behooves you to buy more than one to save on shipping. And times like stores like Zavi in the UK would have three for whatever, three for $30 or crazy things like that. You would pick up, an extra one of a movie you may not be familiar with just to be able to get the deal, save the money or whatever. And so I honestly don't know what I was doing in 2011 when this movie came out, but I know that sports movies involving kids are not usually my favorite kind of movie. Actually, pretty far from it. I mean, I'm not the biggest sports fan, but I like going to a game, and I think there is some great drama to be made around sports stories, and I've seen some really great sports-related films in my life, so it's not like I'm poo-pooing sports movies. But again, when it came out, it was kind of billed as I figured it was a kids movie. It's a DreamWorks and Touchstone film, which Touchstone's part of Disney, which I thought was interesting, that the two companies work together on this, but they've worked on some animated movies before. So you got Hugh Jackman, Evangeline Lilly, Anthony Mackie, Kevin Durant. I mean, really, really good cast. And Dakota Goyo, who made this movie and a few others and then kind of got out of acting, is what it looks like online when I did a little a research into the movie. And what I didn't know this whole time that I've had the movie in my collection is that it was based on a short story by Richard Matheson called Steel that was not only released as a short story, but also made into a Twilight Zone episode in the early 60s. So there you go. I did not know any of that. But Touchstone Pictures released the movie in October of 2011 here in the United States, and it did pretty well at the box office. For a $110 million budget, it went on to gross about $300 million worldwide. Not bad. Kind of surprised we didn't see a sequel. And Hugh Jackman does an incredible job in this movie. Matter of fact, the movie is kind of a cliched story. Down on his luck, former boxer, has to take care of his estranged son and make his life better, that kind of thing. That it is a kind of cliched story, but it's done with that light science fiction touch. The movie takes place in 2020. Remember, this was filmed in 2010, 2011. And we have replaced boxing and martial art MMA with robots because people wanted to see real violence, and so robots can kill each other, and we don't mind. And they're kind of remote controlled in the movie for the most part, but then there's something special with this one robot. Anyway, it never devolves into the cheesy kids movie I really thought it was when it first came out. I started watching the movie. I actually put this in a few. So I told you I bought this in a sale and it sat in my collection. It just wasn't high on my list of things I needed to see. And I looked up the reviews. I think it was like 60-something% on Rotten Tomatoes, but people on like Google liked it more. So, it just wasn't calling my name to watch. But anyway, as we do during COVID times and we're looking for other things to watch, I'm like, man, I own this movie. I've never seen it. Why not? It's Hugh Jackman. How could I go wrong? And Anthony Mackie. And it was surprisingly good. Being the cliched story it is well acted, well filmed. The special effects are amazing. Did I mention that Steven Spielberg was a producer, an executive producer on the movie? Sean Levy directed it, who did the Night at the Museum movies. So he was familiar with special effects. And there's in the extras, by the way, there's some great extras that I'll get into in a second. But in the extras, Sean mentions that Steven Spielberg told him have some real robots. From the shark to the dinosaurs, having a real special effect in the shot with the actors does a lot for their performances, and they did. They built all the robots for real. Yes, there is some motion capture and some CG stuff, but it's blended with these real robot model puppets that they built. And the movie looks incredible. It was nominated for an Academy Award that year, but lost to Hugo, which nothing against Martin Scorsese. Hugo's one of the most boring kids movies I've ever. Oh my God, that was a slog to get through. But I would give the visual effects to this because they hold up. Another thing, the Blu-ray looks incredible. This is not a movie that's been released in 4K. The original release came out in, I believe, early 2012. This Blu-ray is a worldwide release. And looked fantastic. I've watched some recent things on Blu-ray that didn't look as good. It up-converted to 4K on an 85-inch TV. The movie looks pretty spectacular, and the special effects hold up. Wasn't a little bit of film grain, not a lot. And it was surprisingly effective. You know what's going to happen with the movie. You know where it's going, and still I almost got a tear in my eye at the end. And that's pretty rare for me. I'm a pretty jaded film guy, and most movies, oh yeah, okay, well. But Hugh Jackman, Evangeline Lilly, they do such a great job with the characters. And this kid, Dakota Goyo, who didn't make very many movies, he's really good in the role. And it could have been, all of the roles could have been caricatures and have been in other lesser movies. But this was actually a surprisingly well-made film that I really enjoyed. So when I got to the extras, there is a documentary on there that is in universe. It is a fake documentary about the life of Charlie, Hugh Jackman's character. And it's a good 15-minute documentary with the people in the movie, the actors in the movie playing their roles. And they have an expert on boxing and an expert on robot boxing. And it's a fully produced documentary that talks about it like it's all real. And that is a wow. First of all, it took somebody quite a bit of time to put that together, using scenes from Hugh Jackman's past and the movie and the new acting shots with the actors. Really great extra. Then it goes into some details on how they built the robots and where they filmed and how they did certain scenes. There's a couple hours, or at least an hour, if not a little more, of extras on the Blu-ray that were all quite well made and well entertaining. It just shocks me that this movie is not talked about anymore. And it's a really great performance from Hugh Jackman, not playing, your typical Hugh Jackman. He's not the nicest guy in the beginning. And he goes through a character arc. Everybody pretty much in the movie has their little character arcs, and it holds up well for it being 10 years old now. And I think it deserves a little bit better than its Rotten Tomatoes score. And for me, it'd be like a 4 out of 5. And I would watch it again when the time. This was one I really wasn't looking forward to watching, and I would when the time comes to watch this kind of film. When you have the right audience, some people come over and they want to see this kind of movie. I really enjoyed it. It was surprisingly interesting. I paused it when I made popcorn. That to me is the sign of a really good movie. If I haven't made popcorn before the movie started, and I'm like a half an hour, 45 minutes into the movie, and I go, I really want some popcorn with the movie, and I go make some. A movie I don't care about, I just leave running, and I kind of run back and forth for that minute and a half it takes to make popcorn or whatever. But this one I actually paused and came back. It is right at 2 hours long, and there's a few scenes where they get into some heavy characterizations, but that's what makes the movie better than it should be. It's kind of a B-movie story made with A-list care. Also, the music by Danny Elfman, really good, fits the movie. All in all, I was shocked the movie was quite as good as it was, and compared to some of the stuff we get today that's made for all audiences, it's not really a kids movie, but kids could watch it. It I guess it's PG-13. It was, the robot stuff was pretty violent, but this is a movie that you can enjoy with the family as long as you don't have really young ones, because they'll get pretty upset by some of the stuff that happens to the robots. But all in all, this is a movie that caught me out of left field and really surprised I liked it as much as I did. Real Steel, the 2011 American science fiction sports drama with Hugh Jackman, is available, probably streams all the time, and you probably don't pay attention to it because it's got giant robots and looks like a Transformer movie. Definitely not that. And if you're looking for that sports movie with the kid of the characters trying to make themselves better and everybody learns something by the end, has some good moral fiber to this movie as well. Kind of shocked. Real Steel, I enjoyed it. 2 thumbs up. I'd give it probably a 4 out of 5. especially because the special effects hold up really, really well. I'm Scott Hamilton. I'm Rockfile. Thanks for checking out this review of what's becoming a vintage movie that I never saw, and really appreciate it. Glad I got this cool steelbook from the UK, too. It's embossed. It's got robots on the front, and it... if you like Rocky-type movies, you want to see some boxing robots, here's your Rock'em Sock'em Robot movie we never got. My website is therockfile.com. Please share, subscribe, like, and thank you very, very much for listening.